Hi ladies and gentlemen, fellow traders, welcome to another episode of Weekly Forex Outlook with Chart Engineering Pro. We really appreciate you for taking the time to watch this video, and we do not take you for granted at all. If you haven't yet subscribed to this channel or you are new to this channel, kindly hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss out on any content we post here. And if you also find value with what we share here, be sure to like, drop your comments, share your views, and share this video to your fellow traders or anyone who would find this information useful. And we'll also drop a link to the free Telegram group in the description of this video, where we'll share updates of these setups as the week unfolds. Without wasting much time, let's have a quick recap of last week's setups discussed in our previous video before we dive into next week's analysis. So stay tuned. I would say we had a good week. So let's look at the pairs we took advantage of during the week. This is UK oil, and UK oil we had a possible harmonic pattern, which is a possible crab pattern, and then we are looking forward to see price approach or reach $186 per barrel. So we caught this buy opportunity after price pulled back into our area of interest, which we identified last week, and we got the buying opportunity around the same area and we took the buys from there. So we are currently holding this position on Brent crude oil or UK oil. This is US 30. So last week we anticipated that price was going to pull back into this area of interest and give us selling opportunities. We were fortunate to get the pullback, and then we got an entry for this sell. So we're also holding this position at the moment. So we're going to keep holding this position, but as price keeps developing or price keeps approaching the various TPs, if we are able to find selling opportunities along the way, we'll still look for those opportunities and take advantage of them till we hit our final TP we have here. This is JPN 225. So last week we anticipated that price was going to pull back into the area of interest to give us selling opportunities. Price pulled back, gave us a selling opportunity, and we are currently in this position as well, where we are in this short. So we are holding this position as well on JPN 225 or the Nikkei 225. This is NZDCHF. So last week we identified a possible head and shoulder formation, where we were looking forward to a possible sell entry at the neckline or the right shoulder, possible right shoulder of this entire pattern. So we got this entry here as well, and we are currently holding on to this position. We got the entry, I think, somewhere here, and then we are still holding this position. It's currently in some small profit, so we'll be holding on to it till the final TP we have here as well. So we are very bearish on NZDCHF. This is silver. So last week we anticipated that price was going to pull back into this area of interest to give us selling opportunities, and price pulled back and retested the area of interest and gave us this nice evening star formation. So we took our position here, and we are currently in a drawdown. So we are still going to hold on to this position and see how it unfolds for the coming week. So we are still holding this position to the various TPs we have here. I think we have some TP3 below. So we have to see how price plays out as it keeps falling. That is, if it's going to fall. So we are bearish on silver as well. This is Russell 2000. So last week we were already holding this position, and then we were around here last week, and we anticipated that price was going to pull back to this area of interest to give us selling opportunity to the downside. Price pulled back and gave us like a double top formation right here, and pulled back to the entry area as well and give us this nice double top. So going into next week, if we still get a pullback to retest this neckline we have here, we can still take another additional sell from there to complete this move. So we are still very bearish on this move. We are currently holding this position as well for Russell 2000 or the US 2000. And this, I think this was the first position we took this week. I think it was during the Asian session on Monday or so. So we we're looking out for this huge head and shoulder formation on Euro GBP. So this is Euro GBP. So this is the head and shoulder formation we are looking at, and this is the right shoulder. So we are looking out for a retest of the neckline, and then we look for selling opportunities downside. Price retested the neckline, and we found some entry opportunity there. So we took our sell. Price came into profit for a while, consolidated, and now getting to the close of the market or the week, it's pulled back into drawdown or the SL area. So going into next week, what we'll be looking out for is we'll be waiting for a possible daily structure shift. So if we are able to get a daily candle to clear this daily structure we have here, and we get a pullback to retest, it's more like a double top formation, or we get a pullback giving us a lower high formation, we'll be interested in taking another position as well, because we're already holding two positions on this trade. So if we're able to get this daily structure shift here, which will make this move look like a double top reacting from a strong area of interest, then we are going to add another position to the downside. So it's a long-term trade. It takes on the weekly time frame. It's a very long-term trade. So we'll be holding this thing for a very long time. So let's look out for this on Euro GBP. And this is Nasdaq. This was one of the craziest moves we had this week. Price, we were anticipating the price is going to pull back to this area of interest. Price pulled back, but we're not getting a clear entry for this move. So I think I posted in the Telegram group that Nasdaq's entry is looking a bit tricky. And so, but we're fortunate to catch this move on US 30 rather. So price actually retested the zone, gave us some reactions, some rejections here, and then we saw this nice momentum coming from the area of interest. So until we arrive at this TP4, what we're going to do is we're also going to continue to look for a possible pullback into this zone we have here, and then we look for selling opportunities there to this TP4 we have here. So going into next week, we'll be looking forward to this retest and then sell to the downside. So we are still very bearish on Nasdaq for the coming week. And this is EURNZD. This was a missed trade. So EURNZD last week, we anticipated that price was going to pull back from here to the area of interest to give us some buying opportunities. Price actually pulled back to retest the area of interest, but we couldn't get a clear, it just took off. Yeah, this was the retest. It just retested and took off. So we were not able to capitalize on this trade, and it's currently hitting TP1, and which is when it's likely going to go higher and higher. So if we are able to get any buying opportunities along the way, we will also take them and continue the move to the upside. Let's have a look at the economic calendar for the coming week. So on Monday, we're actually approaching the Easter week, so we're going to have some bank holidays during this week. So on Monday, we're going to have Fed Chair Powell speak. On Tuesday, we have the CAD GDP and then USD job openings. On Wednesday, we're going to have the USD ADP non-farm employment change or core retail sales, and also the ISM manufacturing PMI. On Thursday, we have the unemployment claims for the USD, and then we're going to see bank holidays starting with the Asian side, so which is the NZDUSD AUDCHF. As we approach the Easter, Good Friday, so we're going to have bank holidays from Thursday to Friday, and then we have NFP. Yes, we have NFP on Friday, which I don't know if it might be postponed or we are still going to have it. So we'll be looking out for that. And also, there's going to be a daylight time shift for, I think, CHF, GBP, and then Euro. So let's pay attention to that as well. So let's see what we have for the coming week. So this is DXY. Last week, we anticipated, or we were looking forward to a possible structure shift here and a continuation to the upside, or a possible deeper pullback into the area of interest to give us a reversal to the upside. And we got a nice daily structure shift here, and price kept moving up. And we also have a 4-hour structure shift here. So going into next week, what we'll be doing is we'll be looking out for a possible pullback or a possible higher low formation to get a continuation to the upside. As we know already, we are very bullish on DXY, so we are going to look for it to the buys to this zone we have here, which will be one of the key resistance that DXY might face if it's going to continue to the upside. So we'll be looking out for how price is going to react in this area, and then see how it goes. So we are very bullish on DXY. This is EURUSD. So we caught this position on EURUSD. From the previous weeks, we anticipated a possible pullback into, this area of interest. Price was playing around this area of interest, and we got a nice 4-hour structure shift here. The 4-hour structure shift was around, it was here. That's where we took the entry. We had a 4-hour structure shift here, and then we looked out for a possible retest of the structure point, and we took our entry here, which is the wick here. We got the entry here, and then put our SL above. So we are going to hold this downside. We are very bearish as long as DXY is also going to continue to be strong. So going into next week, these are the possibilities we'll be looking out for EURUSD. We'll be looking out for a possible lower high formation, and we'll see a continuation to the downside. Or the other alternative is if we're able to get a daily candle to close or to break this daily. This is a daily structure point. So if we get a daily candle to close below this daily structure point, we'll wait for a lower high formation, and we'll look for more selling opportunities to the downside. So we are extremely bearish on on EURUSD for the coming week. So these are the various TPs we have below for EURUSD. We are extremely bearish now. This is GBPUSD, and for GBPUSD, these are the possible scenarios. Price has reacted nicely from our area of interest. So what we are going to look out for is if we get a pullback to retest this structure point here, which is more like a double top formation. If we get a pullback to retest here, we look for selling opportunities to the downside. And also the second possible move is if this daily candle, we get a daily candle to close below this daily structure point here, we'll wait for a possible pullback or a lower high formation. We'll look for selling opportunities to the downside. So these are various TPs we have for the downside for GBPUSD. So we are very bearish for GBPUSD. If price is able to break above this zone, then we know we are shifting bullish. But until then, we are very bearish on GBPUSD for the coming week. This is USDCHF, and USDCHF, as we identified some weeks ago, we have this nice harmonic pattern that completed, which is a deep crab pattern, and price has to buy to the various TPs of this harmonic pattern. So we are going to be very bullish on USDCHF until we reach any of these two TPs right here. So until then, we are going to look for buying opportunities upside. So going into next week, we are going to look out for a possible pullback into this area of interest. Should we get a pullback into this area of interest, we look for buying opportunities upside. So we can target this I think weekly or monthly structure point as our first TP, and our second TP is going to be this very TP we have here. And if we have a very strong momentum, we would likely continue to the upside, or price might also shift this structure, come for another pullback, and then continue to the upside. So we are very bullish on USDCHF for the coming week. This is AUDUSD, and last week we anticipated that we're looking forward to see price to close with a daily candle below this area of interest. Then we get a pullback and we get a continuation. So we got the break here, but then price didn't pull back into our area of interest. So going into next week, we'll be looking forward to this very first area of interest first. Should price pull back here to retest this area of interest, we'll look for selling opportunities from here to the downside. Or should price pull back a bit higher into the previous zone we had from last week, we'll still be interested in taking the sells from there to the downside. So these are the various TPs we have for AUDUSD for the coming week. So we are very bearish on AUDUSD. This is NZDUSD. This position, I think we'll be holding this position for 2 weeks now, and now we have a very clean shift, structural shift to the downside. So going into next week, if you were not able to capitalize on this trade earlier, what you should be looking out for is a possible pullback into this structure point here, or within this zone. Then we look for selling opportunities from here to the downside. So we are going to continue this bearish move for NZDUSD. We are very bearish on NZDUSD. These are the various TPs we have for. So these are TP2, this will be our TP3. So depending on how price moves, we might extend our TP to the various TPs we have as well. So let's move to the next. This is USDJPY. So for USDJPY, it's also actually playing out a possible harmonic pattern called a butterfly pattern, which potential reversal zone lies around 168. So what we have to be doing is look for buying opportunities so we reach this particular potential reversal zone. So going into next week, we'll be looking out for a possible pullback. And we had this nice reaction from our previous zone. We had this zone from previous episodes where we were anticipating that price was going to retest any of these two zones and give us some bullish reaction to the upside. We retested the first one and price is moving aggressively to the upside. So what we're going to do is look for a possible pullback into this area of interest and look for buying opportunities to target this first target we have here. And this second target, the ultimate target, is a very long-term one. But then we can target this one first and then later on look for more opportunities to this very target here at the top. This is EURCAD. So last week we anticipated that price was going to react. We anticipated that price was going to react from this zone to the downside. We are still playing around this area of interest. So going into next week, we're looking forward to this structure shift here. Should we get this structure shift here? Should we get a daily structure shift here? Daily candle closing below this structure point, come for a lower high formation, and then we look for selling opportunities to the downside. So we are still looking out for the bearish side for EURCAD for the coming week. Should price break above this zone and come for a retest and then continue, then we know that we have shifted bullish on EURCAD. Until then, we are still interested in the sales from this area of interest on EURCAD. This is GBPCAD, which is a similar setup as EURCAD, where we have been waiting for this daily structure shift here. So we have been waiting for this daily structure shift, a daily candle to shift this structure here. We get a pullback or lower high formation and we look for selling opportunities to the downside. So we are still patient. We are still going to look out for it. Or should price pull back, continue buying to retest this zone as well, we'll still be interested in looking for the sales from here as well. These are various TPs we have for this sell move if should it happen, and this TP1, TP2, and TP3. So let's look out for that on GBPCAD for the coming week. We have a AUDCAD. So for AUDCAD, last week we were expecting price to shift this structure point first before this second structure point. So we had a shift. We've had a total shift of the main structure point we have below. So what we have to do is look for a possible pullback into this area of interest, this very first area of interest, and look for selling opportunities to TP1 and this TP2 within this area of interest we have below. Should price pull back a bit higher to the zone above, should price pull back to the zone above, we will still be interested in taking the sells from there to the downside. This can only be considered bullish if price is able to break above this zone to the upside. Until then, we are very bearish on AUDCAD for the coming week or weeks. So this is NZDCAD, and NZDCAD has a nice reaction from this area of interest. So what we are going to do is patiently wait for this daily structure shift here. We're going to wait for a daily candle to close below this structure point, give us a lower high formation, then we look for selling opportunities to the downside. I think if it does that, it's going to give us something like a head and shoulder formation. Yes, so if we are fortunate to get this break, this daily structure shift, and we're going to see this head and shoulder formation, which is a very nice reversal pattern. So this is what we'll be looking out for. So depending on how if we are fortunate to get a daily candle to close below this daily structure, we'll look for a possible retest of the neckline here, or a possible retest a bit higher or a lower high formation, and we'll look for selling opportunities to the downside for NZDCAD. This is CADCHF, and CADCHF is currently very bullish, both I think on the weekly and then the daily is very bullish. So going into next week, we already have a nice reaction. We have a daily structure shift already here. So what we're going to look out for is a possible pullback into the area of interest. We look for buying opportunities from here and we take it to the upside. So we are very bullish on CADCHF for the coming week. This can only shift bearish if price clears this zone, counts for a retest, and goes to the downside. Until then, we are extremely bullish on CADCHF for the coming week. This is gold. So last week we were anticipating that price was going to pull back into this area of interest above to give us selling opportunities. Price didn't get there, and later we discovered that there was another area of interest line right below it. So this very area of interest. So going into next week, if we get a reversal pattern or a reaction from this zone, we can still look for selling opportunities to the downside as we have been expecting. Should price pull back a bit higher to this zone as well, we'll still be patient to look for selling opportunities from here. So we are still very bearish on gold for the coming week. Yes, so what we're going to wait for is a reaction from this zone. This is a 4-hour time frame. We're going to wait for a reaction from this zone or this zone, and we take it to the downside. So that's it for gold. And this is natural gas. And natural gas doesn't really have a positive correlation with crude oil. And if you look at the structures, I think on weekly perspective and daily perspective, natural gas is very bearish now. So going into next week, we'll be looking forward to price has already retested the area of interest we are looking out for. So going into next week, we'll be looking forward to a possible reversal pattern. Should we get like a double top formation here, a reversal pattern here, look for selling opportunities to the downside. Or what then the other scenario we can look out for is look for a 4-hour structure shift. Should we get a 4-hour structure shift here, we get a 4-hour candle to close below the structure point, we look for a lower high formation, and we take ourselves to the downside. So these are the various TPs we have on natural gas. Yes, so we are bearish on natural gas. So this is S&P 500. I think we had a very nice move from here in the previous weeks till this very zone. So going into next week, what we'll be looking out for is a possible pullback. If we are fortunate, looking at this momentum, price might not pull back all the way there. But if we are fortunate to get price to pull back into this area of interest once again, we'll look for selling opportunities from here to the very zone or area of interest we have below right here. So we are also extremely bearish on S&P 500 for the coming week. I think this is the last for the week. So this is German 30 or DAX 30. So price this area of interest, price has actually reacted from the very first area of interest above, and it has given a very strong rejection and a nice bearish engulfing and a nice momentum to the downside. So going into next week, all we are looking for is a lower high formation, a possible lower high formation to give us selling opportunities to continue the sell to the downside. So I think dropping to the 4-hour time frame, yes, it's more like a head and shoulder formation. So we are looking forward to a possible retest of this neckline, a possible retest of this neckline we have here, this neckline, or a pullback into this area of interest. Then we look for selling opportunities from there to the downside. So these are the various TPs we have for German 30 for the coming week. Thank you so much for sticking through to the end of this video. We really appreciate you for your time, and we'd like to encourage all of us to apply proper risk management to our trades and trade safe and sound. And I want to wish all of us to a profitable week ahead of us and a peaceful one as well. So let's all have a very good week. Take good care of yourselves. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel. Drop your comments, share your views, and share this video to your fellow traders. And then locate the link to the free Telegram group in the description to join the free Telegram group where we share updates of these setups as the week unfolds. Thank you so much. Catch you guys on another episode. Bye bye.